Yeah. Hi, everyone. I want to explain some other tools we have in Maya, okay? Like I said, we're going to explain the mirror tool, this mirror tool, this object here, this icon here, mirror tool. We're going to explain the combine, we're going to explain the extrude, right? This is new in Maya. We're going to explain the normal extrude we have and the bevel, all right? I hope this video is not long enough. It's not too long. Let's say I'm going to help you just create something that looks like an axis. All right, just so that you would understand what we are doing. I created this to look like the axis you have on the far left of the viewport. I said that if you are modeling and you're flipping, using the mirror tool, it's best you look at this axis, all right, or this gizmo here. So let's say we have this as our reference, okay? Now this is how the mirror tool works. If I create, let's create a cylinder on one side of the entire grid, all right? Or let's just say I have it here. Let's create that down here. All right, just a reason for doing this. I want to demonstrate the world axis, okay, and the local or object axis in the mirror tool settings. So let's say I have this cylinder. Let me delete half of this cylinder. Yeah. Let's delete half of this. All right. Let's say we have half of this. All right. Now we have the pivot point at the center. Let's move this pivot point away from the center of the object. How to do that is to hold down D key, D for dog. All right. You see that I have my gizmo changed. It's showing me all the axes now. Scale, move, and rotate. Let me move this back a bit so that I don't have the pivot at the center of that object. All right. Now with this, let's now see how the mirror tool works, just to demonstrate something. All right. Now if I click on this, hit on mirror, at first you have these values. Okay. Let's make this big enough. Then with this, the first thing here is chord geometry is on. The axis position is set to world. In essence, it will look at the center of the world, which is here, which is the center of your origin. All right. With this, it will flip. It's as if it's placing a mirror at the center. Let me demonstrate that. Let me undo this. Let's create a plane. I'm going to drop a plane, right? And I'll rotate my plane this way and also this way. All right. Let's say you have a very large plane. Okay. A very large plane at the center of your world. Here. Okay, so let's say this is a plane, and this plane is a mirror, very large mirror rather. Okay, at the center of your world. It's set there at the dead center. I'm going to center the Z so that we see what we're doing. All right. Now, if this is a mirror, okay, if I click on this, let's assume it's a mirror. Okay. If I click on this and hit mirror, all right. Now, if the axis position is set to world, all right, Maya will basically assume that a mirror is placed at the center of the entire world, which is this. It will assume that this is a mirror, and it will mirror everything on one side of the world. Let's say on this side of your grid, everything on this side will be mirrored to the other side based on the axis you choose here. In our case, let's say I want to mirror on the Z-axis. Flip everything on this side to this side, all right? I will change the axis from X to Z. And the direction is, since this is pointing towards this left side, this is positive, while this is negative, okay? Where you have the arrow pointing towards is the positive direction of the axis. Then the other side where you don't have the arrow is the negative direction of the axis, right? So if I change the direction there to positive, see that I'm mirroring everything I have on this side to this side, including the space you have here. So it's as if you place a big mirror at the center of your world and you mirror everything you have on this side, on one side to the other side, including anything you have between any objects. If you have spaces, you will mirror the same space. That's why I'm saying that you have space on this side too, right? On the left side of the mirror plane. Okay, so imagine this is a mirror plane and it's mirroring everything on one side to the other side. That is just how the mirror tool works. Okay, so the offset is just if you want to offset the mirrored image far beyond the actual position it should be. Okay, that's the offset you have here. This is the mirrored image. All right. The mirrored axis, like I said, is the axis where you want to mirror this object. You could mirror in the z-axis, in our case, which is z, to give us what we need. You can mirror in the x-axis. If you mirror going upward, let me scale that guy. Mirrors in this axis. Okay, you can mirror in the y-axis. Mirrors upwards. Let me offset this one too. See that? Mirrors upwards. So this is positive y. Negative y goes down. Mirrors y. All right. Yeah. So negative y is down. Positive x is towards us. Negative x is inwards. I'm looking at this, okay, just to get or to show you how the mirror plane works. I've lost the dialog. If I click on that, I could have it over here. In case you lost the dialog, you could still see it in your channel box, or you could see it in your poly mirror. It's everything you have all the way down here. Okay, so that is the mirror. Let's explain now the threshold value. Let's undo this so that we'll have that mirror again, that mirror plane again. So that will show you some things in case you can see it. Let's change this from world. So if I change this to Z, positive Z, you are seeing this. Now, the axis position could either be world or object. There's a reason for this. Now, the reason why I place this cylinder here is to explain this word and object. Now, before doing this, let me undo this. This particular object has is on this side of the grid and has its pivot here, right? If I hit mirror, this, okay, and I change the axis to positive Z as usual, but I change the axis position from world to object. You see that, let me turn this to 0. It will look for the center of the object itself, the object pivot point. That is where it will mirror from, not the world mirror plane, okay, or the world origin. No, if it's use object, it will mirror from the object pivot point. So in this regard, the object pivot point is set to that point here. You have at the center here. All right, so it will mirror from there to the other side. All right, now I just gave a space so that I could explain the merge threshold. Now you could recall that I deleted half of this, so I have vertices on this side of my object, right? Now this merge threshold will merge vertices if the distance between these vertices here is less than this value. If I click somewhere and I might lose this thing, but this merge threshold, this is it here, all right? So that we'll use this. I want to create a measure to show you the distance we have here. Okay, so I might use this to demonstrate the remaining part of this parameter. Now let me create a distance tool. Create measure tool, distance tool, all right? I'm going to snap to this. I'm going to create one here. I'm going to drop on that one here. All right, and that's what I have. Now with this measure tool here, right, I'm measuring now the distance between the vertices on all of this side and vertices on all of this side. The distance here is 10.85 centimeters, right? That's the distance separating the vertices you have on this side of the mirrored object and on this side of the original object. Now, if I click on this and go back to that mirror tool I added to it, okay, if you check your channel box, you'll see you have mirror applied to it. Same values you have here, the same thing you have also over here too in your attribute editor, all right? Now, this merge threshold is set to 3, so nothing happens because 3.9 is lesser than 10.8. So it doesn't merge anything. But if we increase this all the way to, let's say, 11, right? Now you see that there's a merge because 11 is higher than 10.8, or let's say 12. 12 is higher than 10.8, right? Yeah. So the merge threshold is the distance at which below that value, that distance, right, the merge will occur. Above it, a merge will not occur. All right. If the distance between the vertices, right, is above your merge threshold, no merge will occur, right? But if it's below your merge threshold, a merge will occur. Just take it that way. If the distance between the vertices, let's put that guy down. Distance between the vertices is higher than your merge threshold, nothing will merge. But if it's lower than it, right, a merge occurs. Yeah, that's the meaning of that merge threshold you are saying there. So that is just the mirror tool. It has the mirrored axis, which can be X, Y, or Z. The direction of the axis, positive or negative, and as well as the merge threshold. Don't forget we have the mirror axis position can be set to the world or it can be set to the object. If you set to the world, that means you have to increase the merge threshold a lot for it to merge between these two, because we see that in our case, if I move this all the way to the side, I think to some extent, this is 53.04, right? That means that the merge threshold has to be higher than this value for you to merge or to merge the vertices in between them. Let's set this to 55 and it will merge, right? That is how the mirror tool works, all right? Let's stop this video.